talk about Florida. And I said this earlier. I don't know that our team, from a preparation standpoint, we had a really good week. There's some things, as always, anytime we practice it, I think we could do better. But I think there was not a doubt in my mind, we were ready, we were excited, we went to win the game. Give them credit, as I was talking off air just a minute ago. I think they, from against our defensive standpoint, I think they finally figured out we've got the size, we've got the bodies, let's just continue to run right at them. I think we did a good job. Obviously there were some times on third downs I would like to have gotten off the field, but a lot of stops down there holding them to field goals. Probably could have done a better job, obviously, in third down, and probably as the game wore on. We wore down a little bit defensively, but never quit fighting. Offensively, we were disappointed. I think we couldn't run the ball, and nobody's really been able to just totally take our run game away. North Texas gave us some problems with it in the first half when they just loaded the box. They didn't have to load the box. Dropped some balls, had some uncharacteristic turnovers, which you can't do against anybody. So, protecting the football is something we work on every day. We talk about every day. We've done a great job of. We had a trick play shot that probably shouldn't have been thrown. So there was a lot of things offensively we'd like to have back. And special teams, for the most part, we were really solid. But just a tough day. Our guys fought their tails off, and as I've said, we walk off the field, we got to put that one behind us. So here we are, last regular season game against El Paso. And to go and answer this question before everybody asks, yes, we have not forgot Charlotte. We don't care what their record is. They've been in every single game, really a lot of them going into the fourth quarter. And you can go back and just check me on that. La Tech did get out on them early. They had a fumble late, down there. They had a pick six, but they never quit fighting. So they don't look like an 0-11 team. They don't have those kind of people. They're fighting their tails off. Obviously Coach Price has a history of winning. We feel like we're going to get their best game. It seems like every game we win is a dogfight. So that's 100% what we're expecting. That's all we're going to talk about today. We're going to have a normal week of practice, even though it's Thanksgiving. And then, of course, we got the 12 o'clock kickoff, so we need our guys there. We need our fans there. I know, there's other things going on that day, but, we're trying to accommodate. But, we got to play a game. It's senior day for our seniors who have done so much for this program. And I would just love for everybody to come out and support them and send them off on a great note. And as we get ready for the bowl.
Senior day is usually a pretty emotional deal.
Yeah.
You've got some guys who've been through a lot more
Yeah.
than some other programs on their senior days. What do those guys mean to you?
Yeah, I was just sitting there looking at them the other day as we got ready for that game, knowing I won't have them back, and I'm thankful I've got one more game with them, the bowl game that that we can enjoy together. And but it's going to be emotional. These guys have almost become like coaches. In the things we've asked of them and the expectation. And, I think that's one of those hidden secrets of how we brought this team together. Those guys have been a glue toward all the things we've asked them to do. And, this is a tough job. The things they're asked to do. And yes, they're put on scholarship, most of them, and are paid to be here. But I think just the work, the volume of academic work and football and how hard we've had to work to get where we are right now. And those guys have been instrumental. So, you're going to look back in the history of UAB football, and we're going to thank that group of guys. And they'll have a special place from now on.
How big of an impact do you think they have had just outside of the football complex out there?
I think huge. I think, and I was talking, I've been talking to NFL scouts about these guys, and he's like, well, this is really just a good group of guys. I said, yeah, it really is. It's not just me saying that. It's not just what we expect out of them. They really are good people. These guys they've been on every magazine cover. Anytime somebody asks a question, they're gracious. Not only do they say the right things, I think they believe the right things. And, I'm always worried when this next group that, does their, we're now in this nice building, does there get some entitlement, that these guys have had to fight just to have a program. They believed in us. They believed in this city and this school, stayed here, fought, practiced without games. And then really led us behind the scenes, all the stuff that I don't ever even hear about, where they're telling guys, hey, believe in what coach is telling you. It is the right thing. Act right, do right, be where you're supposed to be. These guys have been coaches for me. So, and then you just start thinking of all our Children's Harbor and Children's Hospital and Big Brothers and the giving back, and they're in part of it. They're in all that. So Yeah, it's going to be, that question, man, it's going to be emotional, and you don't replace that, the people they are.
One of those seniors, Wally Adams, is a guy that came back and he hadn't got a chance to play
Right.
much during the season. But kind of what has he meant to this group? And the guy, I was watching him practice.
Yeah.
They were in the scout team.
Yeah.
And,
What a great attitude. What a great attitude Wally Adams has had. And that's the balance of you want a guy to be a competitor. Something my dad and I used to talk about. Okay, you want this guy to want to play, yet you're mad at him if he doesn't have this great attitude. But, that's part of, subjecting yourself to the team's needs. And I think Wally is one of those guys that wants to play. And, I think he saw his role early on that, hey, my role was to be a leader, to come out here and work. And he goes down to the scout team as a fifth-year senior, or whatever you want to call these guys, and does his job, and does it with enthusiasm, with effort. And I don't get to brag on these guys enough, so here's my chance to brag on Wally Adams.
What, as you approach the final game of the regular season at home, just can you put into words what this season has meant to you? Just, closing out at home, looking for your 8th to win the most in program history.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words, and I am really just a live in the moment, the routine of the week, because it's just, you have to be that way, and I think people's probably figured out I hate to lose, so those games wear on you, But now when you go back in hindsight and look at where we are, I was sitting out on the field the other day thinking, okay, we didn't have a program, and now here we are competing against this team with all the things all the resources they have. It's special. It's special for these guys, and they've had to fight to win these games. And I think the big thing, they've set the precedent for teams to come on, our expectations as we go into next year with a lot of guys returning. I think these are the things I tell the players about. We're going to enjoy them when the season's over. We're going to look back, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now and say how special this group was, and we just got to keep building on that.
Can you just reflect on the attendance this year, which has just been unbelievable?
Yep.
And now you are at home to end the season.
Yeah, obviously, we've played very well at home. We found a way to win games that came down to the final wire. I think that's got something to do with our people. I think that goes back to how we've trained there, but I think a lot of it, our fans, and just showing our players that it is important that we came back for the right reasons. I've had so many people. I really just can't. It's hard to believe how many people have come up to me and said, that's one of the best experiences of my life. It's family. Just the time they have in the stands. Guys that could do a lot of other things are choosing to be at our games and have really, I think, bought into, the family atmosphere, our fans, and just how we do things. And so could not be happier with our fans. That's why I'm asking them. We need them, we need them Saturday, and it's an early kick, 12 o'clock, so hopefully we'll get on out and support us.
How different a feel is it for a program when you're going into your last game, but it's not your last game? It's your last regular
Yeah.
season game, it's senior day, all that. But is it a different feel when you know that there's still another one out?
Oh, 100%. We know we've got another game. This is not the last game I'll ever see these guys. Now, that next one will be real emotional. I think there's going to be emotions last home game for these seniors, last regular season game. It's just another important game for us. There will be emotion there. I know there'll be emotion for them. For me, it's a little different as a coach. I know I got them one more time. But it's big. You're talking about a truly historic season, not just for UAB, but for college football. So I think, it's hard to be reflective in the middle of 5 a.m. to 10:30 or 11 at night, but I think we will be reflective. And now as I say these things, it makes it that much more special.
Would you tell when they made the change and Mike Price came in? Obviously it's the middle of the season, it's probably hard to
Yeah.
change much, but have they done anything different with Mike Price that they did?
Nah, a little bit, a little bit. He was one of the first one-back guys in the country, one of the first true spread guys in the country. I'm sure, like a lot of other people, and, Coach Kugler's a friend of mine, I thought did a really good job. You look at their offensive line, you can tell he was an NFL offensive line, guy, and they are maybe the best O-line in the conference. They've got an All-American, and, they've always had a guy, you look up and he rushes for 300-something yards in a game. And, I think that was probably for recruiting, recruiting with this new early signing day. I think there's a lot of unintended consequences I think are about to be seen. People are removing coaches earlier and earlier so they can, get out there for that December signing day. And all these things, it's just going to be even more pressure on us. So I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Not to look at too much, but what is the process of the bowl? You know,
Right.
Picking a bowl. I mean, do they go by wins in the conference, or how much do you know about that?
From what I understand, the 7-win mark obviously was a big deal because there's so many of us, and of course 8's better. But I think as you get past that mark, I think really in our conference it's got a lot to do with who the bowls want, from what I'm understanding. I'm not privy to all their meetings, but everything I hear, they are really talking to, their TV partners and their bowl partners about, okay, who's the best fit from a matchup, from how many fans they bring. So they're asking, these bowl people are asking for certain teams. So, I think the conference is not, maybe some of the other conferences, okay, you're the 1 seed, you're the 4 seed, you go to certain bowls. I think it's a little different in our conference. So I think that's why it's still a wait and see.
One guy that the last few weeks seems to make big plays.
Yeah.
Big plays is Chris Woolbright.
Yeah.
The guy that's kind of been behind Tevin, so you don't hear much about him. What have you thought about his development, and especially recently when he's making a lot of big plays?
I think he's getting better and better. I think Chris was one of those guys that, had played some other positions, and getting him to the inside linebacker spot is just, he is really growing, and we're of course excited about him coming back next year. But, he's been playing a lot in our dime package. He's playing well on the line of scrimmage. I think that whole group's getting better and better. But I think his best football by far is yet to come. And, this guy is really a good athlete. And you see him in coverage, whether it's from an interception standpoint or whatnot. But he's gotten more physical, and he's really feeling that position better.
Obviously this has been, like you said, a historic year for you guys, but this team has the capability of doing something extra special
Yep.
in 8 games. Have you stressed that to the team this week?
Well, we're about to meet. So, normally it's a 6:30 a.m. before class. We knock it out. Well, with no classes, we had study hall this morning. So I'm leaving this meeting to head in there with them. So it will be stressed. And I think they know it. We talked about, we were playing a championship game every week from here on out. It's our championship game, and this is definitely our championship game back home. We knew that last game was going to be tough, and I think without making zero excuses, there was no sneaking up on anybody. We had a good record. They expected us, and it was a big deal to them. So we knew that game was going to be big, but so was this one, and so it's a championship game to us.